Hey everybody, welcome back to Livie Says. Today I'm going to be doing a video on how to achieve an almost flawless finish using BECCA cosmetics, which are fantastic. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. This is what it looks like. It's me basically just showing you how I get my skin to look really nice and clear because you guys have asked me, so if you want to see how I do it, just keep watching. Before you apply any of your makeup, you need to make sure that you're starting with a really great base. And BECCA has a product called their Radiance Primer. And what this is supposed to do is enhance the skin, kind of create a nice luminous base, a good finish. You basically want to have really nice glowy skin, and that's not going to happen unless you have a really good primer. This is the primer here. Now you can either apply this with a foundation brush or you can apply it with your fingers. If you're using it on somebody else, I'd advise using a brush, but if you're using it on yourself, the product is going to work into the skin better if you apply it with your fingers. Leave your primer for a few minutes and just let it sink in. You need to make sure that it's not sitting on top of your face so that when you're applying your foundation it will go on smoothly, perfectly. You don't want it to sit on top of your skin and go cakey. Now we're going to move on to the actual foundation application. This is the Luminous Skin Colour, and this is a very sheer foundation. So if you prefer a much fuller coverage foundation, then perhaps the next product will be best for you. But I like to start with this one after the primer because it really does give the most luminous base. I like my skin to look kind of glowy and radiant, and that's the whole point with BECCA. BECCA's like philosophy is to create sort of beautiful, natural, glowy skin and not to have that whole hello, I'm smothered in foundation look. So we're going to start with this. The shade that I use is Sand, and I'll be applying this using my beauty blending sponge. I like to put 2 pumps of this directly onto my sponge and just tap that onto the places you're going to be applying it. So for me, it's all over. Now this may look like a lot, but this foundation, it's sort of like a whipped consistency, where the way I would explain it is that it's such a light formulation that it's much closer to a tinted moisturiser than a foundation. So that when you use it, it spreads out so quickly that you really don't notice how much you're using. So where it looks like you're using a lot of product, in actuality you're not using very much at all. And you're left with this lovely sort of glowy base. Now, if you're looking for something with coverage that's going to cover up any blemishes, obviously foundation isn't really intended for that. Foundation is intended for evening your skin tone. This is much better for people who have very clear skin, who don't want to use anything with a lot of coverage, anything like that. This is fantastic for it. However, if you're looking for something to really make your skin look totally flawless, like you have no blemishes, anything like that, then keep watching. Now, you'll have seen this product a lot in the last couple of videos, and this is their concealer. I have been loving this, like love. My favourite concealer used to be the MAC Select Cover, but I've actually found that since using this one, the difference in my skin, I find, is huge. And I'm not literally saying it's getting rid of my blemishes, I would never claim for it to do that, but what I'm saying is that whenever I applied the MAC concealer, I noticed a sort of cakiness. This formulation is fantastic. When using it on your under eyes, I noticed it doesn't go in the creases, it just sits there perfectly, it behaves itself, and more importantly, it's a fantastic base for eyeshadow as well, which for me, I love a good all-round product, but the best thing about this is that you have 2 products in one little pan. And obviously, they're both concealers, but one is a little heavier than the other. My one is in the shade Praline, or Praline, depending on how you pronounce it, because I am super duper pale. But you have, I'm just going to try and get that nice up and close, you have 2 different concealers, one of which is slightly darker and a little heavier, and one of which is slightly lighter, both in shade and in consistency. So I use my 4th finger, always use my 4th finger because it's the one with the least pressure. So I'm going to start with the lightest one, and I'm going to pop a little bit of that on my under eyes. Some more in the corners, and I'm going to put a little bit of it on my actual eyelids as well, and then I'm just finding any blemishes, popping a little bit of that on top. Now what I like to do is, not with my fingers, with my beauty blending sponge. I use this thing for absolutely everything, it's fantastic. I use that to smooth the concealer, and I like to smooth and pat as I do with the foundation. The consistency of this concealer is just gorgeous. Because I'm so pale, the veins in my eyelids show through very clearly, and it's something that I find really annoying. I just don't like looking at them. And this concealer, with such a tiny application, because the consistency is so creamy, so you don't need to use very much, it spreads and blends really, really well, is that it covers them so well without looking cakey. This is actually just called their compact concealer. I feel like I literally can't live without it. When I'm blending out the one on my under eyes, I always look up to make sure that it can really get in all the little creases. I do 2 layers on my under eyes. I do this little light layer first, and then I use the slightly heavier side of the concealer. And as you can see, it's already covered up my circles quite nicely. But this concealer really does do the trick. I can't really rep it enough, and you guys have seen it in my videos. I've been using it so much. I really, really like it. And then on the places where I've applied it for hiding blemishes, I just pat it down, just like that. And I always use the heavier side for the nose, because I hate the sides of my nose showing through. It's because being so pale, redness shows up very, very quickly on my skin. So let's just pat that in with my beauty blender. And now my eye looks so much more awake now. I always find that's what happens when I use this concealer. It's so like, it just creates so much radiance, and I love it for that. And the last foundation type product that we're going to use is the BECCA foundation stick. And this one is in latte, which is good because I love coffee. And it looks like that. So what I like to do is, this is something I do with all of my products. I get this on the back of my hand and I just hold it there for a while. And what this is going to do is warm up the foundation. Working with cold foundation can be a problem because it will set so quickly. So the minute you've applied it, it's going to set, and that can cause cakiness. It's so irritating for those of us who hate the cake face, as I despise cake face. So warming up the foundation is actually a really, really, really good alternative. It's similar to warming up your eyeliner so that it doesn't go on so harshly. It's the same principle. What I like to do is use a little down the nose, very, very little, as you can see. I like to put a little bit of this on top of the areas which I applied the concealer on, because it means that I'm getting double the coverage on any blemishes. But just make sure you're not caking it on. Do not sit there and draw lines, because that is when you get cake face. I just love patting it like that. Take my beauty blending sponge and sit there and work it in the areas that I've applied it. So I'm going to start on the nose, which is where I first applied it, and I just pat. I push it right into the pores. This foundation is fantastic, but you must use it sparingly. I've been using these products. Before I filmed this video, I made sure that I used all the products for quite some time, and you can tell because I've used the concealer in so many videos. So what I wanted to do basically was just try the products out on a regular basis so that I knew the best way to apply them, the sort of best routine for me, the way that I like to apply the products, etc, etc. And I also wanted to make sure that I actually liked the products, as if I didn't want to film the video because I thought it would be inappropriate, but in actuality, I love the products, so we're okay with that. My skin just looks so glowy. Obviously right now it needs to set, so I'm going to leave it for a little while because you must give your skin time to set in between stages. When I film videos, it looks like I just do it one after the other, but I do have to leave it to set because otherwise it's all just going to sit on top of your skin, it's going to cake up, all that sort of thing, and we don't like that. I hate that, so give it a few minutes just to set. Before I set everything with powder, I'm going to move on to another product, and this looks exactly the same as the concealer. It's the same little pot, except this is actually their lip and cheek cream. It's just a cream blush or a cream lip thing, but I use it as the blusher, but I actually like it quite a lot as a lipstick. So the shade is Blossom, and another thing that I like about the concealer and the blush is that it comes with a little mirror, which is awesome. It looks like this, and it's sort of like a peachy pink shade. Not too much pink, not too much peach, somewhere in the middle. And for my skin tone, that's really nice because it gives me a little bit of colour, a little bit of flush, but I don't look either A, like I've been punched in the face in both cheeks, B, like I've been rubbing against a brick, or C, like I want to be a doll. It's perfect for my skin tone. So I use my fingers for this. I use my middle finger and my fourth finger. Get a little bit of that, just like that. Start by patting it onto the apple of my cheek. You can see the colour payoff, it's just great. And again, I just use my sponge. And what I like to do is pat it around until I'm sort of happy. See? The nice thing is that these blend into each other beautifully because they're all created to work in perfect harmony. So you don't have that problem where you have a cream blush that you really, really like, but it doesn't quite work so well with the foundation that you have. These all work perfectly together. I get a little bit more and put it up against my cheekbone. Now, this isn't a highlight. It is just a cream blush, but it's a cream blush that I've been loving, so it's also really nice on the lips, and that is something which I like. I like duo products. Now I think you can see that I just have a nice little bit of colour. Such a nice product. Now, when it comes to moving on to powder, they have a powder. It looks like this. It's like a giant version of the concealer, but obviously it's powder. And this is in the shade Bisque, and this is their Fine Loose Finishing Powder. Now, it's quite similar to the Laura Mercier Translucent Mineral Finishing Powder. It is quite similar. So I've got it all in the cap now. I use a very big fluffy brush for this. The one I'm using is by BH Cosmetics. You can use one by Sigma. This one I'm actually finding I'm preferring. And I like to start by setting my lids. I hate having lids that aren't set because then you have that problem where you've put your concealer on and then it goes into the creases in your eyes. That's very annoying. So that's the place that I like to set it first. More swirling, more tapping. Then I like to set my nose. Now I have to shut my eyes with any sort of translucent powder because otherwise it goes onto my contact lenses and then everything's really blurry for a while. I'm just sort of like, am I in a dream? But it's very confusing. So I like to sort of pat that down and then smooth it around. Powders will tell you everything about the way you've applied your foundation, because if you've applied it incorrectly, it's gonna cake. If you've applied it correctly, it will go on smoothly, you'll have no patches, no nothing. You can actually learn a lot more from your powder than you'd originally think. Like, it does tell you so much about your application. And then when it comes to setting your under eyes, this is the solution. Get some kind of blending brush. This is a Sigma 217, very, very similar to the MAC 217, something like that. Get the remnants of your powder onto that little brush. Tap off any excess. Get a small mirror to look in, so there's one in the concealer thing. Look up and use that to pat the powder onto your under eyes. For a start, you're going to get it right into every little nook and cranny and crevice, but also you're not going to miss any of the creases. You're really going to get this all the way in there. And that is what my skin looks like immediately after foundation application. I can't really tell you how happy these products make me. There's just something about the fact that I can go out and my skin just looks so natural and flawless, and I don't have to feel like I'm wearing tons of makeup, because even though we've used so many products, you haven't had to use so much of them. So it's really, really nice in that respect. I'm really liking them. Sort of finishing touches, what I like to do to go out on a regular basis, you know, creating a sort of nice base. The thing with BECCA is that they like this whole natural look. I'm big on the natural look. I don't go out wearing a lot of makeup. For the eyebrows, and you guys have seen this in videos because you know how much I love it, this and the concealer are kind of in a fight at the moment as to which one I like best, because I love this. I used to swear by Benefit's Speed Brow Gel. Used it every day, loved it. Then I found this one and I was like, never going back. For a start, I love what it comes in. I love that the gel comes in a tube. I love the fact that the spoolie is actually quite long, so you're not just having some sort of half spoolie, because the Benefit Speed Brow was about half of the width of this. It was like maybe that long, much shorter. But I love that it's clear. I love that it has no color, but the actual gel itself sets your eyebrows perfectly. My brows still look great by the end of the day when I've applied it in the morning, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't like having to reapply brow gel. If you want to put a bit of powder through your brows, do. I use this Anastasia brow gel. I use this Anastasia brow powder. It's their duo, and this is in Ash Blonde and Taupe. You can use either the light one or the dark one. I'm gonna use the light side at first, I think. And I like to start at the beginning of my eyebrows, as you guys know. I'm using an angled brush by Sigma. This is a 216. It's not as good as the MAC 216, but there you have it. And I just like to push that through the brows. I find that most people steer clear of lighter brow shadows because they think that they're gonna look too pale, when actually the lightest shade in this compact, which is this one, is the one I'm using, and that's the one that fits my brows perfectly. My brows? I really like it. I just like to fill in the very front of my eyebrows, fill in any gaps, and then I sort of just do the outer edge. I like to make sure that the top of my arch is filled in. Then I grab my brow gel, and all I do is brush through the hairs you guys have seen me use this in many videos. I always drag up the ones at the front and then smooth the other ones outwards. Right, so now my eyebrows are done. They basically just match my hair, which is quite nice as I don't like having to have ridiculously dark eyebrows. I'm gonna do my lips before moving on to the rest of my eyes because I love the lipstick. The lipstick is better than MAC lipsticks. I'm not joking. MAC lipsticks are a fave of mine usually. Like, I really, really like them. I like how they smell, I like the consistency. I don't like the consistency of their darker ones because they're quite drying. But BECCA lipsticks, for a start, I like the tube. I like the fact that it's not a pull-out one, it's a little twisty one and then you can pull it out. I like that. I just like the fact that it's more secure and you don't have to worry about the lid falling off and then it going mush in your bag. But I like the metal casing. This one is in the shade Letitia, and the lovely Lara that sent these products to me, she must have just known the perfect colour for my skin because I love this. This is now my staple go-to lipstick. And the shade looks like this. It is the most gorgeous sort of mix between a nude and a pink. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So I'm going to zoom in to show you. For a start, it smells like banoffee pie. Of caramel or toffee or something like that, which is similar to the MAC lipstick because they always smell like caramel, but this smells like toffee or banoffee. Offie. I have a little lip balm on my lips as always because I'm obsessive with lip balm, as you guys know. I've never actually had a lipstick that just was my go-to one. I was always switching between different ones, but I really like this one. It's such a great everyday colour. So Letitia by BECCA, or Leticia, but I'm gonna say Letitia because that's me. And this is the finished look. This is literally what my makeup looks like on a regular basis every single day, but most importantly, this is how I create an almost flawless finish. And I really like this look. I find that it's perfect for me because it looks like me. I don't look like I'm wearing loads of makeup, but I still feel, you know, like I'm wearing makeup. That's something that I like feeling. I like the fact that my skin looks basically flawless. I hate wearing too much concealer on a blemish because it looks like you've got too much concealer on a blemish. You can always tell it just looks like some weird lump that you have in your face. So this is what I like my skin to look like on a regular basis. I really hope you guys enjoy it. Go into the down bar and go and check out the BECCA Cosmetics website because they're gorgeous. All of their cosmetics are gorgeous. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button up above my head and give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment, something like that. I love reading comments, and any suggestions for any further videos are warmly appreciated. A massive, massive thank you to BECCA Cosmetics for providing these wonderful products because they were gorgeous and I've loved all of them. I'm going to be using these in many, many more videos because I just can't get enough of them, quite frankly, particularly the concealer and the brow gel because they're both brilliant. I'm hoping to do some more videos with them anyway, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys soon with my next video. Have a great day. Love you all. Bye-bye.